welcome back to the studio sessions. My name is Brooke, and this week we are talking about when development goes right. Last week we talked about when development goes wrong and what it actually means when a movie is greenlit. That's kind of a buzz term. So let's talk about it. Now, a lot of the decisions that you make in development heavily affect the film. Like we talked about over the last couple of episodes, it can be really make or break. It can be very pertinent for how the final product turns out. And when a film going through development seems to have all of the ducks in a row, things seem to be working out well, it seems to be progressing nicely, details are getting figured out, it looks like a viable and positive film. Like it looks like it's going to actually be makeable and a good idea to make it. Like not only are their logistics working out, seems to make sense in a lot of other ways too. Like we talked about uh, marketing, knowing your audience, all of that. And when all of that goes right, there's a term called greenlighting a movie. What this means is it actually goes into production mode. Does not mean you're on set yet. Not quite. Getting close, very close, but not quite. When a movie gets greenlit, it's basically the go ahead sign for starting production of that movie. It's the money coming through, actors getting contracted, all of those details being officially put into action. That whole plan that you made in development actually going into action, which leads you into pre production. So when a movie gets greenlit, it's saying, yes, go put this plan into action, go make this film. Does not mean none of those details will change, does not mean the picture is locked, does not mean the script is locked, does not mean any of those details are concrete, unmoving, never will change under any circumstances. Not what it means. Those decisions aren't quite done being made because you do still have to put that plan into action. And within that, some of that can shift. That's why it's called pre production. Now you've come up with the plan, it seems like it's going to work. So let's put the plan into action and see if we can get all of those details in place to move into production, or really what production is used to reference is actually what's called principal photography, which is where all of the actual filming on the set with the cameras, with the lights, with all of the things actually occurs. That's what people think of when they think production is all of that. But there's still stuff that has to happen before you get to there. So pre-production is getting all of those decisions from development solidified. Like, okay, let's actually do what we said we were going to do now. So actors, sign your set people, go build those sets, find out how much money you need to build those sets. Costumers, how much money do you need for the costumes? Um, go buy the equipment or rent the equipment, or gather the equipment and confirm we have everything we need. Set a schedule for starting filming and how long we're expecting it to take. Make sure the script is filming ready. Like it's a shooting draft is what it's called, where it's a draft we're going to take into shooting and use to film. This is also where rehearsals, table reads would happen to prepare for going to set. And after that, which that process can be months as well, is when you actually go into production. So pre production is also a lot of work. Things are absolutely possible to have fall through in pre production, also. Each step of the filmmaking process really is another opportunity for some piece of the puzzle to fall out and it to all of a sudden not work as well anymore and to change the dynamics that we thought was making this possible, right? It's an ever evolving thing. But what pre production does is make sure you have everything you need to actually go film. The sets get in place. They get set up for whatever you're going to need. Actually secure a location officially. You set up schedule for filming. You make sure the money from however you're financing this is coming through for whatever you need it for at this point. There's different levels of cost to each part of a film, and so some phases of the film are going to be more costly than others. Obviously, the principal photography, the production, is a bulk of one. Post production can also be. Pre production is an area where you do have to spend some money. You may need to rent or buy equipment. You may need to pay for the location, permits. All of those things might be a part of what you have to have money in place for at that time. So that financing that you figured out, whatever it was, needs to have come through. And you actually need to start using it to prepare to film the movie. And this gives you the opportunity to make any final adjustments you're going to make before you go into production. So if there is something in this plan that you feel like needs to shift, now would be a great time to make that shift if you feel like you need to. We talk all about storytelling on the Studio Sessions podcast. And if you are interested in hearing stories, you should check out Coffee and Turner Syndrome podcast. I will put a link to it in the description. We talk about all different kinds of stories of women and girls with Turner syndrome, real stories of what living with Turner syndrome is actually like. So check it out. I will see you over there. So that's what greenlighting a movie does. There's people that make that determination for each film. Yes, we can move forward with production, and let's shift into pre-production and start getting those things in place to do it. Usually, I would say those people are financing the film. Those people would be producers, seeing how things are going. They're the one organizing that financing. Those could be for a studio, executives, creative directors. If you're an independent film, this might feel a little different. You kind of have to decide on your own, like, yes, as the filmmaker, as the producer in this film, I don't want to put that in quotes, but it's outside of a studio system, so it's not exactly the way we traditionally would think about it from like the mainstream understanding of how the film industry works. It wouldn't be a studio executive making that decision or a creative director making that decision. It would be the filmmaker themselves deciding that yes, we're at a point we can move to production. And typically that would be probably a producer. That might be a team of people on the film, like producer, director, working together to make that decision and say, yes, I think we're at that point. The biggest detail of it is actually having the things in place before you go start filming. So, like, not getting ahead of the script being ready for that, not getting ahead of financing coming through for whatever you need financing to come through for, making sure you have all of that set. And this is no longer the idea of them being possible to set, this is actually getting them set. So this is when producers are calling people that are financing the film and going, hey, we're ready. We're ready to start. So we're ready for that financing to come. This is where you start scouting locations and actually booking them in whatever way you need to. And the script gets like finished to the most you're going to prior to production. So it can be stressful and you're a little bit on your toes because there can be things that come up like, oh, that location isn't available the dates that we were planning to shoot. So what do? Can we shift the calendar? Can we not shift the calendar? Is everybody still available on dates it's available? Does that work with our timeline for everything else? Because you still have a timeline after this to think about, after production, for post production, distribution, all of that. It's a lot of moving parts. That is where, like, the real kind of gears are moving and everything's starting to work to come together. It's going to be a busy time. I would say probably biggest aspect of when preparing to get a movie into pre-production is you're getting the right team around you. A movie being greenlit doesn't necessarily mean you're done building your team for this movie. You have not contracted actors by then. You may not have already hired crew. You may not know fully what everybody that's going to be involved in post production looks like. There's still a whole team to assemble. And that's a pretty pivotal decision, also. So, people that you don't know yet are going to be starting to come into the fold of the movie. And it's when it gets greenlit that it starts to feel like more of a real thing. Like, oh, this is going to become reality. We're going to see this on film in some way, or at least it feels like it at that point. Like I said, almost every phase of the filmmaking process can be a point where something happens and it gets stopped. A movie being greenlit isn't a guarantee there's going to be a movie at the end of it. It isn't a guarantee that there won't be something else that causes the film to not work out. But it means you have the go ahead to start production, which is a big step. I don't want to downplay that. It is a big step. It's a major step. But the work's just beginning. Once you get a movie greenlit, now is when feet hit the pavement and the work of actually making the film is really just beginning because you have a whole film to film. You have a whole film to produce. You haven't even started filming anything. Probably don't have any of the sets or anything like that, right? There's a lot that has to happen. And because of that, it can feel like you're getting over a hurdle, right? You got it greenlit. You got the yes. Or you got to a point where you felt like, yes, we can move to production. That just means you have everything ahead of you to do now, which is exciting. It is exciting. And it's a huge accomplishment to get a film to that point. So it is a point for celebration and maybe a point to look ahead towards the work and get excited about what the work is going to look like. First day on set, what are you going to want to have prepared with? How do you want to prepare for that? What you don't want to do is think that having the movie greenlit means things are going to be easy from there, because that's not true. The potential for problems is almost just beginning because you're getting more people involved now. Doesn't mean you will have major problems, right? There's no guarantee of any specific outcome just because a movie is greenlit, but certainly you're taking on more to juggle. So, what pre production actually looked like for me, unlike a butterfly, was a lot of looking at reality of what was possible and how I could accomplish certain things logistically without compromising the quality of the film as much as possible. Because I had a lot of interviews I was dealing. I had my own that I had to film, but I also had a lot of other interviews I had to film that were not in my immediate location that were very difficult logistics wise to figure out how I was going to accomplish them. And I ended up having to pivot some of those plans because it just was not possible. I mean, I didn't try, but it wasn't possible. So a lot of that, I just had to go in the mind with, I have a specific goal in mind and focus on that and let everything else play out how it needed to. I know I talked about before, like I had to keep the heart of the film and the point of the film in mind to make the best decision. I, of course, had specific goals that I would have loved to have been able to accomplish for certain parts of it that couldn't always look exactly how I wanted to. Whether it had to look completely different, whether I had to shift it some, whether I only got a part of what I was hoping for. I had to kind of roll with it as things were playing out and happening in pre production to when I could actually put those plans into action. So this looked a lot like coordinating with people, reaching out to people, seeing what logistically would work, and going from there. I had to kind of be very flexible in that way because of how limited I was with not being close, not having a lot of logistics on my side, really. So, movies are greenlit all the time, and we can end up, because of the media age we're in right now, hearing about it before they ever go even that deep into development. There have been, especially recently, I've seen a lot of projects kind of being vaguely launched, just probably because they're scared of leaks. This is another interesting aspect of the media age we're in, because some of these parts of filmmaking are different because of the technology now. There's a whole lot of different ways you can approach different aspects of it because of the technology we have now. And pre-production, greenlighting a movie, and not only is there a whole lot more technology at our disposal for determining if a movie is a good one to greenlight, but also we learn more. We hear about a movie really early on in the process of it, way before, well, before traditionally. Now is kind of our new normal. And because of that, that can impact what gets greenlit and what doesn't, and even how development and pre-production go, because it has to be approached a little differently with those different things in mind. So that, I think, is being seen a lot lately. Like, Scream 7 hasn't even come out yet. It doesn't come out until the 27th of this month when I'm recording this, which is February. And there's already rumors that they've already started development on Scream 8, which, I'll be honest, it isn't actually that surprising, because if Nev Campbell brings people back to the franchise, I don't think they'd shy away from doing another one with her. Just thinking. But that is so early to know. So if that's true, that just goes to show you how you can't count on it not coming out. It's kind of like it's a crazy time with that stuff right now. So things like that are very interesting to think about. And for pre-production, when you're looking at, well, this movie just got greenlit, that means there's a whole lot more people that are going to know about this project, and we got to kind of figure out how we're reining in or handling information getting out or not getting out, and like what that's going to look like. So that's just an interesting aspect of it. And I feel like pre-production is when that part starts to get a little more dicey. That's just an interesting aspect of it. And I feel like pre-production is when that part starts to get a little more dicey. Now, because of all of this, I think a movie being greenlit can truly be the exciting time of anticipating production. Exciting. And I think it's a really great time to kind of look forward to that and make all the plans and put them into action. So that's what a movie being greenlit is, and what starts to happen after. Next week we will do a little bit of a deeper dive into pre-production, some things to think about, some good things to know about pre-production, and we will look at the idea of getting everything in place for principal photography, also known as production. If you've been enjoying this series, I hope you will give this a like and share it with your person you know that is the most movie obsessed. I would love to have them join the conversation. If you have a favorite part of a movie being greenlit, or if our favorite movie that recently has been greenlit that you've heard, leave it in the comments. I would love to know. And make sure you're subscribed and have notifications on. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. The Studio Sessions is a Butterfly Entertainment production. You can keep up with all of our podcasts, YouTube videos, films, and other projects on our Instagram page. We are at Butterfly Entertainment Group. Thanks for listening.